Hi there, welcome to Apple World. Man, I owe you a clamor. I clearly can't bear to get anything like I told my little dog. I don't allow men to take me out, sir. I'm great. No, damn it. I've needed to turn down $50 million 4 times, multiple times, just to safeguard my honesty in that virgin opening. I was enlightening you concerning right. Because P. Diddy will need the body and you gotta let him know, no. You gotta let him know, no, I did. I saw that I got the receipts for all that I'm explaining to you. That is the reason I can say them so openly, so it seems to be a computer. Katt Williams could have gnawed off somewhat too much on the grounds that he could have recently expressed Diddy off and made him very irate, and he has been supposedly sending a few dangers to the computer. Currently, Scoundrel has had a lot to say about Diddy in the recent days alone, and Diddy is at last tired of this business being out there. However, at that point, Katt isn't the type to allow himself to be harassed and threatened into silence. So in addition to not keeping his mouth shut, he is calling Diddy out, pummeling him for allegedly attempting to unalive him. I'll have returned to you on the off chance that JD ain't had enough. Better believe it. Jermaine Dupri, Lord of the If You Were to Ask Me Child, you made the minister little as a kid now. If you all felt that Diddy being uncovered by various individuals over the recent days was going to attempt to cause him to act and quit coming for individuals, then you all most likely have not gained. From the accounts that have been going around for a really long time about Diddy, and I'm not in any event discussing only Cassie's claim, now you all got to remember that these are charges and that Diddy has not been accused of everything, except there are murmurs that go way back to the 90s about how Diddy purportedly unalived his operations. Now there are murmurs on the roads that Diddy supposedly put out a hit on Tupac in light of the fact that he had heard from the roads that Tupac was wanting to out him for being gay, and hush, what exacerbated it is that Tupac was endorsed to Death Row Records, which was possessed by Diddy's greatest operation ever, Schneid. So Tupac was spilling the tea on D. Diddy would have truly been awful for him at that point, and his vocation couldn't ever have been something very similar by then. Now KD, the one who has been captured on charges connected with Tupac's homicide, even guaranteed that Diddy put a $1 million abundance on Tupac's head for anyone who could unalive him, yet one of KD's partners uncovered that Diddy put payout on the $1 million. However, it never got to KD since another person got ravenous and chosen to save the cash for themselves. The story that has flowed was that after Tupac wound up dead, Puffy purportedly gave the cash. I heard to Zip yes, and Zip should give the cash to Keffy. And there yes, however he never gave the cash to Yet Say. Thanks to God he never gave him the cash, right, consider it, assuming he gave the cash, doggy. Would be in jail now, cash for enlist a homicide for recruits? Express gratitude toward God on the off chance that this is a genuine story. I'm not saying okay or no, however, on the off chance that he would have given them the cash, it would have been a homicide for them and Puffy to be secured. Now, one of Key's partners even uncovered that the FBI had the option to follow the cash, affirming that Diddy paid it out, but it didn't get to Keffy D. The FBI said, a grimy better believe it. So the FBI let you know the Zip kept that cash too, he said. Z's messy, everyone crosses you. So again, the tales about Diddy being a genuine Batman have been around perpetually, and Cassie's claim discussed it a great deal. I'm not discussing the part where she guaranteed that he put his hands on her or pimped her out to different men. That was terrible enough. However, the part I'm discussing is where she guaranteed that he attempted to take out his operations for his own reasons. Now recollect how I said that Diddy and she Knight were OBS. Diddy held a great deal of feelings of spite over the course of the years, supposedly in light of the fact that Cassie guaranteed that Diddy attempted to take Suge out. For instance, on one event, one of his safety crew members jumped in and reported that Suge Knight, a long-lasting opponent of Mr. Combs, was spotted at Mel's Drive. In coffee shop in Los Angeles, Mr. Combs started to get dressed, recovered different weapons from a safe, and ran out of his home to where he accepted Mr. Knight was feasting. She likewise guaranteed that Diddy purportedly attempted to unal Kid C since he figured out that Cassie had been dating Kid C. After she left him, she said Mr. Combs told Miss Venter that he planned to explode youngster's vehicle, and that he needed to guarantee that Kitty was home with his companions when it occurred around that time. Mike's vehicle detonated in his carport, so one thing about Diddy, it seems as though his memory is long, and he knows how to save resentment for a long, significant time frame. and he comes after his operations, particularly the people who attempted to uncover his sexuality. And that is the very thing that it is by all accounts happening here with Katt. Now genuinely ought to have seen this approaching, in light of the fact that the things that Katt said about Diddy and his Club Shay interview were wild. And that is to say the least. And get this, that wasn't whenever that Katt first talked about Diddy, since back in 2011, he attempted to uncover Diddy and Jermaine Dupri for supposedly being unpleasant towards young men. What's going on, Puff? I'll have returned to you on the off chance that JD ain't had enough. No doubt. Jermaine Dupri, Lord of the If You Were to Ask Me Child, you made DPRI little as a kid for setting. Katt was alluding to claims that Diddy and Jermaine Dupri had purportedly tried to confuse when they were both endorsed to Jermaine Dupri Mark. Jermaine had found both young men in a shopping center, and he quickly approached two kids who were unaccompanied by a grown-up and offered them cash furthermore to make them hotshot. Yet, in the event that that isn't dreadful enough, then I don't have the foggiest idea what's going on with everything, which makes it even creepier that both young men got the heebie-jeebies from Jermaine too, in light of the fact that their senses let them know that he was a kid PE on the off chance that you get my DFT. In a meeting, one of the young men said we were simply playing computer games in the shopping center in Atlanta, when out of nowhere, this buddy comes dependent upon us, and said that he'd like us to work with him as rap performers. We had no clue about who he was. As a matter of fact, I told Mag Daddy that I thought this person was presumably a youngster molester. Better believe it, he essentially taken a gander at all of us entertaining. They presumably ought to have paid attention to their senses yet. Again, we're kids, and he guaranteed them fortune and popularity, so obviously they took him up on his proposition. Yet sadly, they supposedly succumbed to the wiped-out things that occurred in the business, including say, as per Katt, Diddy and Jermaine Dupri purportedly did swapsies with their specialists, where Jermaine supposedly spawned the befuddled young men with Diddy's young lady bunch. Diddy Kane purportedly now knows your skills. Diddy used to clash with Ario the very first moment of the individuals from the gathering, since he didn't think she was compliant. Well, he frantically needed to control every little thing about them, from their looks to their garments and stuff like that, and Aubrey was not having it. I wasn't ready to do what was generally anticipated of me. Not ability-wise, but rather in different regions. And there were different young ladies doing it. I was the one in particular who was in such positions. Wow, when you think back on that, how does that make you feel? You realize I have such a love-hate with it all, since I don't figure I would have had the option to find success in such countless different regions had I not been prepared under Diddy. He was the hardest individual that you can work for. And it was torment. Well, his guardian Gene has since guaranteed that the explanation that Diddy was so fixated on how the young ladies looked is that he believed them should look great, since he was supposed die pimping them out. Cause I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He sit up there and he said before many individuals we were in the studio, and I expressed something to him furthermore. Left the studio, he said, yo, I'ma drug their butt off and got them and pee them out to my pimp them out to tell my, he said I am a drug them out. I'ma get them generally on medications, and I am a pimp their butt out to my I resembled there. Someone kids and left. Aubrey had likewise alluded to this when she said that in addition to the fact that Diddy body would disgrace them, he additionally attempted to connect with them and lashed out when they turned him down. You could envision the reason why someone would need to fire someone. Might you at any point give us a little? I wasn't able to do what was generally anticipated of me, not ability-wise, but rather in different regions. And were different young ladies doing. I was the one in particular that was in those kinds of positions under Diddy MH. He was the hardest individual that you can work for, and it was torment and not the work part of it. However, the other stuff, mind games, like simply every one of the young ladies were so separated, and the men and individuals running it were that had their hands in it, moving all that, when you're that youthful to comprehend your value as a lady through the men that I was near. And Hat was exceptionally horrendous. I don't think any about us have recuperated from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot any longer. Like, what happened? You have nothing, as you have no bends. You're seeming to be simply, you're not appearing, as though I can't get individuals to feel that you're my gorgeous. Well, Katt guaranteed that Diddy and Jermaine purportedly SW the mismatch young men and Danny K young ladies around, which is only some awful terrible stuff. Had additionally asserted that Diddy Arnally saw a few craftsmen who were marked the terrible kid records. I could go on and on about the claims about what went down between Diddy and Usher, which is an entire one more degree of craziness. In a meeting, Usher talked about his involvement with Diddy, saying I needed to save some from my book. One day, I'll put it this way. There was a ton of sex, and he likewise had a meeting with Howard Harsh, where he guaranteed that he took part in a ton of improper stuff at Puffy's place. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.